Well, joining me now in our Lagos studio to deliberate on this matter, I have with me economist Michael Ilo. Good to have you on the breakfast show today.
Thank you, David.
Now, for some, this plan to reopen the border does not come as a surprise, looking at the fact that we earlier had Nigeria ratify its membership to the AFCFTA earlier on, beating the deadline of December 5. But now, going by what is expected, initially, some thought the border closure was a fire brigade approach. We did not necessarily put in place structure and infrastructure to spur local production to meet demand and also checkmate smuggling. Do you think plans to reopen the border has already put all of these in place?
Well, I think the plan to reopen the border, it's a good one. For too long, we have closed the borders, and the implications have been dire, even for our own economy. The reason we are in a recession is majorly due to the closure of the borders at this moment, because the things we had in mind to achieve, we didn't put all the things, the factors that are important to those things in place. And at the end of the day, we closed the borders, but we have not really achieved the larger purpose of the closure, which was to improve the local production of goods and services. It's not been enough. At the end of the day, the farmers have produced maybe a bit, 30%, 40% more, but it's still not enough. At the end of the day, whatever production we had, the prices had to skyrocket for people to be able to afford it. And at the end of the day, even smuggling in some areas was still coming into the country, as you may want to know. And that smuggling, is to the benefit of a few bad eggs in the system. You know, rather than people having access to maybe chicken, poultry, etc., you are buying it at double the price. Even rice, for now, has more than doubled in price. How does this become a good sign for the economy when the average person finds out that what he could afford before, he can't afford them again?
What do you think now plans to reopen is a consolidation on efforts towards the AFCFTA and strategically position Nigeria?
Yes, we can't actually close the border forever. You know, protectionism, many countries have practiced it. A few are still practicing it. It doesn't help in the long run. We have to look at things we can do in-house to make Nigeria more competitive.
How do we make Nigeria much more competitive at this point in time, looking at the structural deficit we have and also the funding and investment plans that are needed to spur manufacturing? At this point in time, to boost production levels, there's the need for bigger investment. How do we now have robust investment and then robust engagement so that we don't necessarily make Nigeria a dumping ground, one of the biggest fears we've had?
Well, the easiest way to go is to focus on infrastructure locally. If the AFCFTA comes into effect, it's going to mean open borders in a way. More than 90% of the things we are importing or exporting will be tariff-free. This means the whole West Africa, the whole African region is your market, where you can play, where your citizens can move. So if we don't look at infrastructure domestically, we are going to have problems. Imagine Dunlop going to maybe Ghana, some other industries, looking for where they have cheaper energy. They make these products, they send it to Nigeria where the market is there. If you may want to know, half of West Africa is Nigeria in terms of population. So if we are not the ones producing the goods, we just be consuming, and that means we are losing foreign exchange. So if government is serious about what needs to be done, focus on your own infrastructure. How do we make these things competitive? And one tree does not make a forest. The government, to me, has a claimed wisdom that they don't seem to have. Sit down with manufacturers, sit down with regulators, sit down with people who understand the economy. Sit down with them. How can we achieve this? When you put heads together, you'll be surprised what can come out of it.
Nigeria's chief negotiator for the AFCFTA, Victor Leman, also forecasts that we expect to see between 17 and 25% increase in terms of intra-African trade by the year 2025. But at this point in time, how robust or what sort of engagement do you expect now from Nigeria as well as other neighbors within the West African region, and then talk about the sub-regions across the continent?
Well, the issue that led to the closure of the border, Nigeria is not outrightly the bad party. Truly, some of our neighbors have been taking advantage of us over the years. 90% of the rice that comes into Benin Republic is destined for Nigerian market. We contribute half of their GDP, the things destined for our markets here. So those are the issues. But now we have to sit down again and re-engage. Many of them have been having some retaliatory measures, especially Ghana, because of the closure of the, because it will affect the economy. We are the big markets, either destination or source of their product. So when we unilaterally shut our borders, they are going to look for ways to punish us too in our own in their own ways. So when we sit down with them, let us agree on the ground rules. AFCTA is based on some rules of engagement. If we want to profit from it, it's imperative that all of us must sit down. I will not allow this, I will allow this, I will not allow this, I will allow this. At the end of the day, everybody understands.
What's your biggest fear if the land borders are reopened?
Well, my biggest fear is unemployment. Whether we like it or not, even in recession, Nigeria economy is bigger than all these other economies. If you are building a house now, if you see a Togolese plumber and maybe a Togolese technician, and you see a Nigerian plumber and a Nigerian technician, I bet you 7 out of every 10 Nigerians, we prefer to have that foreigner do their own work for them in terms of building and in terms of other things. I don't want to say our people are less qualified, but maybe due to 1 or 2 other factors in terms of competence and ability to stay on the job. People kind of prefer foreigners. These are the issues we have to look at. If we want to create employment, we have to look inward and look at the things that are critical to people who need people to do those things for them, maybe artisans and
do you think we're seeing that in terms of our rice production levels and capacity, processing, refining, the quality at this point in time?
Well, when we had the rice issue, people took up that obligation, like, okay, let's produce domestically. But even with the best production, because of some other factors, a lot of tomatoes, a lot of the rice that we produce, they get spoiled because there are no preservation mechanisms for them. These are the things militating against development of our agri sector. The people are willing to work. But if what happened in Borno over the weekend happens, how do you expect people to be safe and sound working in their farms when there is no security? These are the issues. At the end of the day, everybody wants to come to Lagos. And if your neighbor is having problems, if you don't attend to it, at the end of the day, it's going to come to you. The way I'm seeing it, Lagos, even the whole Southwest, should be prepared for an influx of people in their millions that will destabilize whatever plans Lagos and Southwest economy may have put in place. They are Nigerians. They have the right to live anywhere they want to live. But if wherever they are coming from is not safe, you'll be surprised. Don't be surprised that they will find their way down south.
Well, we just want to continue seeing credible customs cooperation, and it's quite important to note if our borders are not secure, we have a trade and national security problem.
Sure.
All of these have to be addressed properly, and then we're also looking forward to the submission of the report to the President and then a formal pronouncement on the matter. Thank you very much for your time on the Breakfast Show today.
You're welcome.
Ilo.